So let me share the address of the explainer and the CL that I'm going to talk about. So first of all, this project, YXCK has been working on this project before I did, and he did lots of contributions, including a sale, which I found while I was writing the explainer, and I merged his test with mine. So if you see he actually did a very similar sale to mine. He did a lot of work, so I acknowledge that. So okay, with that, let me first talk about content encoding in case somebody doesn't know the background. The content encoding is actually in a spec, and it's what so when the client send a request for resource from the server can encode the content, and then it will put a response header called content encoding in the response, and it will indicate what kind of encoding it is used. For example, it could use gzip, and in the header, in the response header, you will see the string gzip. It's in this spec, but in this spec, it doesn't say what happens if the server sends the wrong information, and this is also implemented in the Chromium. So what I like to do is to expose this. Let me show to expose this piece of information in the resource timing. So after the resource timing API, there will be a field called content encoding, and the ROM users can just get that information instead of guessing. And why this is beneficial? I quote the a paragraph that Nick wrote here. I think this is I can write it better. So this explains why. So basically, people used to be able to guess this piece of information, but it's getting harder and harder. And it's very useful. And there's like Nick listed multiple use case scenarios. So we just provide this piece of information explicitly in the resource timing. So this is idea. This is beneficial. This is benefit. And what I like to talk about is actually there is something like to ask people's opinion. So I got this sale. It's pretty straightforward. It's just plumbing the content encoding from the response from the fetch to the resource timing. However, here the problem is I couldn't find the specification says what if the server sent the wrong value. I could show you a test here. After this line, so you will see actually this is a test case. My server sent the response content coding as a Hello Kitty. This is obviously there's no such compression encoding as a Hello Kitty. But I still get this Hello Kitty back. It's because Chromium, because what happens right now is if the server sends unknown content encoding like a gzip, but the content body is wrong. Let's say if it's compressed by something else, the Chromium will flag it is a failure. But if the server sends unknown content encoding value like Hello Kitty, it actually will go past. It will not be filtered out. It does not check the body, and because it's not known, so this test will actually pass. So the information, so the switch will actually have a response header that's called content encoding and has this wrong value of the content encoding. And I also look at the fetch spec. So the behavior of how the server sent back the response, the content encoding string response is missing from the fetch standard. So I'm thinking, first of all, there are two issues. Like right now, I'm working on exposing the value in resource timing, and I think for resource timing, we could say we just expose the value from fetch because this value, this content encoding value, arrived at the browser via the fetch API. And so this is just the plumbing. This is just exposing the value. So the value is already exposed at the fetch. People can, like, after run the fetch, they could query the content. They could query the response header and get the content encoding value. So we could say at the resource timing API, we just expose the exactly same value as we exposed in the fetch. However, at the fetch API and all other response, I don't know if we should do something about filtering the unrecognized or like wrong in content encoding value. So that's something we could consider. And also the content encoding in the response header is missing from the fetch standard. And I think I could make a PR to put it in the about the content encoding in the fetch. But that also relies on if we're going to decide if we're going to filter the content encoding value. So that's end of my presentation.